everyone. In this video, what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about uh, cloth filters for pour over. I don't know if you guys ever try to use that. I think most people don't because even though if you've tried it before, you'll notice kind of what you get in the result is different, obviously, than what you would get with a paper filter. With a paper filter, it comes out much more cleaner, but with a cloth filter, you kind of get, it's kind of in between like the way I would describe it, at least in my experience, it's between a French press and a pour over. So it's a little bit richer. I think you get more of the flavor notes from the coffee, but then you also don't get fines and stuff in your coffee cup. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a richer, more flavorful, brew, but at the same time, it's also clean. Like a paper filter, like a pour over. So, but the drawbacks to it is that cloth filters are fairly expensive. Usually they average around maybe $10 or so US. And you usually get like one or two. And then also they're such a pain to maintain. At least that's the reputation of them. But what I've been doing, I think maybe some of you out there have tried this before as well. But what I do is instead of buying these cloth filters specifically made for pour over, what I do is I just go to the fabric store and I can buy like a yard of muslin cloth. And so let me just show you real quick. So I just bought this. I just went and bought some more muslin. So muslin is 100% cotton, and I could buy premium muslin, meaning that it has a really fine thread count. I'm not sure what it is, but if you see it up close, I don't think you'll be able to kind of notice anything from here. But it's a very high quality cotton sheet, and I actually bought 2 yards because I'm going to do something with half of that later. But the total, it was on sale, like 30% off, and it was $5.99 a yard. And so I bought 2 yards, and with the discount, my total plus tax and all that came out to like under $10. It was $9.27. And so for $9.27, I got 2 yards of premium muslin cloth. And so what I do is, from 1 yard of muslin cloth, I could probably make, let's see, if it was like 36 inches wide, right? And then I had 1 yard of that, so that's like a 36-inch square, right? I can make, let's see, yeah, I could probably make 9 cloth filters. I'm just measuring how, yeah, I think like, because 12 would actually be, this is 12 inches here, it'd actually be a pretty big cloth filter. Like, I should have went and measured, but I'm not exactly sure what I think I normally make it, yeah, because if I couldn't, let me see. Yeah, I guess 12 is about right. 12, yeah, I think 12 is fine. If it's a little big, that's fine. But what I do is I cut it into 12-inch squares, and that's it. I'm done. Basically, you don't really need to make your filters into the shape of a cone and sew them and all that kind of stuff. Instead, what I do is I just fold the cloth like it's a Chemex filter. And, so it's super easy, to make them. They last a long time, pretty much for forever. I mean, at least a year or whatnot. They're biodegradable, so if you wanted to actually, I guess you could probably compost it. Like, it's 100% pure cotton, which is biodegradable. I don't know if it's compostable, but and then like cleaning is actually very easy because if you if for less than $10, I have 9 or even more cloth filters, I don't have to recycle the same one over and over again. I can just use one per day, and then when I start to run out, I can just wash them in bulk. And then, since they're just a square sheet, it's just like doing, washing like washcloths or something. So you can just, I usually wash them by hand, but you could, just throw it in the laundry and wash it with a non-chlorine, bleach or whatever, and it becomes very easy in that way. And so, I just thought it might be cool to kind of share that idea, and then maybe just kind of show you, since I bought this, I'm going to go ahead and, kind of do that and make these cloth filters. So what I'll do first is measure out a yard. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so this is 2 yards. So what I do is, and I think I'll just like measure kind of more exacting in terms of, I'll just use this tape measure and then measure out 36 inches. So this is the hardest part, is just kind of, laying things out to be able to cut it. And you don't need to be super precise with this, and you're not going to be sewing or anything. So, even if you kind of ballpark it, it's not that bad really. So I'm going to do a little bit longer than 36, because usually when they cut it, it's not always perfectly straight when they do. So I'm going to give it maybe another inch or so. It's about right here. You do need a good pair of scissors. If you don't have a pair of scissors for cutting fabric, don't try to use just whatever you've been using for like cutting paper or whatnot. It's not going to be sharp enough. We have a good crease line here. Maybe I'll just use that to guide my cut. I'll put my scissors. You might even be able to get the fabric store to kind of make the cuts for you. That could be something. Make it even a little easier. As you can see, I'm kind of rushing through this. Okay, so I made my first cut. So this is a yard, a little bit more than yard. And then let's see how wide this one was. So it's like 36. So this is, so basically, yeah, I can make 9 out of this. All right. And so what I'll do first is maybe cut 12 inches. I'll cut every 12 inches here. Be helpful if you have a bigger table to work with, but this is fine. And I'm using a tape measure, but obviously a regular ruler could be just as helpful. Okay, so 12. Okay. Hopefully I keep this straight. Okay, and then I'll cut the rest a little bit later, but I just want to show you maybe just a few finished ones, because you don't. I mean, I would probably make, you know, if I had 1 yard, I'd make them all at one time, like I said. But if you just wanted to make, you know, 2 or 3 or whatever, you could also do that. And so let me just measure one more time. This should be 36, roughly. Yep, 36. And so basically I could just measure 12. And actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, I mean, there's different ways to do this. I could just fold it like that. Once I get 12-inch lengths, I can just fold it into a triangle. It's probably actually smarter. And then just cut it, because then you know you got a perfect square. Let's see. I should probably do it this way. So that's cool. All right. There we go. So I made one, and hopefully that didn't seem like it was a lot of effort. You only do it once, and after that you're good to go, right? You just cut up, you know, you get up to 9 of them, and you'll be good. There'll be a little bit of fraying. You can just basically just kind of pull on that, and then all the threads that come off, you can just, you know, just take them away, and then you'll get to a point where the threads won't kind of come out anymore. You can just, you know, trim it up, and it should be pretty good. You'll every once in a while get threads to come out, but once you use it a couple times, there won't be any more threads sticking out. So I'll do that on this side too. Okay, so there we go. There's my cloth filter. And so like I was saying, what all you need to do is just fold it. Right, so let me see, which ways can I fold it? You can fold it into a smaller square like that. Right, and you just open one side up. And there you go, right? Let's see. So let me, as an example, just take out the V60. Okay. All right. And so there you go. And that's it. And then you just, you know, you can just fold this down. Right. So this is what it will look like, right? And it works really good. And then once you brew with it, when you take it out, it's just a regular sheet. So it's very easy to kind of, wash. You don't have to worry about fines and stuff getting stuck in the between, in the stitches or anything. With the cloth filters that are kind of already made into a cone, that can kind of be an issue. And and then you can wash them in bulk. When you have a bunch of them together. And whether, like I said, whether you wash them in the in the laundry, or just do it by hand. And then you do want to sanitize them, I think, first. And I usually use unbleached muslin cloth, but I did find that with unbleached, you do get a cloth taste for the first time that you're using it. It takes a little bit. Even the way that I prepare them is like once I cut them, I boil them a couple times in hot water for maybe 10 minutes each. Each time. And even with that, I had a little bit of a kind of paper taste. So I would kind of wash it and then boil it, and then rinse it off, and then boil it again, rinse it off, and still there was a little bit of cloth taste in the very first time. So that's why I kind of bought this this new set, because I was due for making some more, and so I was like, let me try bleached. And you should be fine with bleached because you're going to wash it and then boil it a couple times. It should remove everything. Typically, I think people don't like to use, people use bleached paper filters, but they used to not use it because it wasn't, they were kind of worried about that process. Now it's oxygen bleached, I believe, most of them, so that's fine. And with this, I'm not sure on the process of how they bleach these cloths. But since you're going to be, like I said, washing it and boiling it the first time, it should be safe for use. So anyway, I'm going to finish making the rest of these, and then I'll do another follow-up and brew with it, and then maybe kind of share those results with y'all. All right, so yeah, I'll be back in a little bit to make some coffee. All right. All right, so I'm back. I finished cutting the rest of these cloth filters and washed them. Put them all in a large pot and washed them with some dish soap, and then rinsed them out really well, and then I boil them on the stove twice for maybe 5 to 10 minutes each. So sounds like a lot. Maybe don't need to do that much, or you can just throw them in with the laundry or something. Maybe that's easier. But that's just kind of how I do it. So I ended up with quite a bit of cloth filters. Here's one as an example, right? And let's see, it's a little bit large. This is basically 12 by 12 inches. I probably could have went to something like 10 or maybe even 8 inches square. But yeah, so it's a little bit long. A little bit, large. But if I decide, that I want to make them smaller, I can always do that. So I'd rather start off with with it being a little bit too large and being able to trim it rather than the other way around. So let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of these large cloth filters, And I have, I have these two that are kind of smaller. They're, I would say, I think these were 6 or 7. I'm not sure. But these will fit well with like my Kalita wave, I think. And yeah, so I'll use that for that. And then I cut some even smaller ones. These are really small, like less than 6, probably 5 or so. I don't know, 5 or 6 inches. And these will be great with, I have like the 01 size. I have a dripper that's 01 size. It's a Kono dripper. And so this will work well with that. So I got how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those. So that's that. And let's see. So what I want to do next. Oh, also just wanted to share that I also have. Since I was washing a bunch, I went ahead and washed some of my older filters. And like I mentioned, these I usually have bought the unbleached. So here's the difference: the unbleached versus the bleach. So we'll see if this, how they bleached ones perform. And so let's see, what should we do next? Let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's go ahead and brew with it. Okay, so I'm gonna heat up some water, and I will put the rest of these kind of away for a little for now. Probably what I'll do is, so right now I'm just wrapping it with some paper towel, and I have it in this plastic Ziploc. And since they're kind of damp and I haven't dried them out, kind of like the usual recommendation for cloth filters, for like the ones that you buy is they say, like put it in some water and in the fridge or something. So these are washed, cleaned, and sanitized. So I'm just going to throw it into my fridge later. But probably what I'll do is I'll let them kind of air dry. I prefer kind of doing that, especially since they're clean. And yeah, so while I'm heating up the water, let me go ahead and prepare to brew. So, okay, I've been using this light roast Ethiopian wash. Ethiopian. Let's see. Still too much. And one thing maybe I can talk a little bit more about these cloth filters because I'm kind of prepping here. Let's see. Not sure if there's anything else I need to share. Well, I mean, I still have a lot of fraying, as you might be able to see here. So I will clean them up, every once in a while. So I just kind of whip it. And like I said, eventually, you'll end up where there won't be any more. And if you're so inclined, you can always, sew it, sew the ends. I would leave them as squares. I wouldn't try to kind of turn them into cones or anything. But there was someone I was going to mention. Hopefully it comes to me. Maybe a pro and cons. I did a lot of the pros already. There's definitely, nothing's perfect. Everything has their pros and cons. So if it comes to me, I'll kind of mention some of the challenges that you might run into with these. But for the most part, I think the pros outweigh the cons. And yeah, I'm still trying to dial in the ZP6. I'm going to go ahead and use this again. Let's see. Yeah, I've been grinding a little bit on the coarser side with it. So I haven't been able to really dial it in, and when I grind finer, it is like, it's still kind of clear. I get the clarity, but yeah, just something is just not. It's not giving me the best cuts that way. When I grind coarser, it's definitely very clear. A lot of clarity. I could really pick out the flavor notes, but it tastes a little, thin or something. I don't know. So, but what I'm hoping is that with the cloth filter, I'll get, more of the flavors kind of coming through. So I'll see if that makes a difference. By the way, this grinder, I guess, is probably slower than my JX Pro, but it's definitely much easier to grind. Like, this is a light roast. I mean, it's not like super light or anything, but this is fairly light, and I have no trouble grinding. Very smooth, easy. Yeah, it makes me think like the JX Pro is fast, and it's I can do espresso and pour over. But grinding for espresso on that thing sometimes, unless you're grinding with like a dark roast, for me it's it gets a little tiring. Like, I don't think I could use the JX Pro for multiple shots. I think for other people it's probably not a big deal, but for me, I think maybe I might look at another grinder. But first, I'll probably see what the. I haven't really used this yet for espresso, and I've only used this a couple times just for testing out the grinding. But maybe I'll try this for espresso and see. All right, so this way. There's different ways you can fold it. If I fold it as a square, this shape I think is better for like a cone, something deeper, right? But I'm going to use my Molita here. So this was my. I've had this one the longest, probably close to 12 years now. I still like it. I've recently kind of have come back to it. So especially for light roasts and like a more of a mostly like a single pour type of brew, I think the Molita works really well, at least in my experience. So this is the other way you can fold it, like as a triangle, and when you do that, it seems better for brewers that are more maybe not as deep, or maybe even something flat, because I can just fold in like this. Right. Actually, I don't need to fold it that much. Oops. Okay. And it probably doesn't look the most aesthetic, especially in this type of brewer. Definitely looks better with. Seems to fit better with a cone-shaped brewer. So this is perfectly fine. What matters, of course, is the results. All right. Okay, so it's a little bit more than 20 grams. I'm gonna do 20 grams, and I should probably do some of this out. It's a little bit too much. Okay, okay. So 20 grams of beans and 300 grams of water. Got a lot of chaff in here. Let me see. One of the things I'm gonna start doing is using a sifter. This one's a little bit too big. I kind of had this for experimenting, looking at preheating components for the flare espresso over the kettle. So the holes on here are a little bit too big to catch the chaff on this. So I'm gonna get another one here. Let's just see what that looks like. Quite a bit. A bit of chaff there. Ideally, I'd want to kind of remove that. So that'll be something for later. All right. And I'm using this Takahiro kettle. What I like about this is the original. They have another version called the Shizuku, and that one has a finer spout for kind of like a slower flow rate. I prefer this one because you can get it really slow if you want, and then you can also pour really fast, and it has really good control. So. So I'm doing kind of I'm a big fan of the, what's it called? The 4-6, Tetsu 4-6 method, brewing a pour over. My personal take on it is I feel like the first two pours are, they almost to me feel like you're just doing a double bloom. I think definitely after the second pour, it's like the grounds are like really ready for brewing, and so the last, the successive pours after those two are are kind of more how to adjust your brew. So these two are just kind of just to fully truly bloom. And a lot of times I pour aggressively. I didn't do that this time, so what I'm going to do is kind of a new thing that I hear about a lot. It's kind of wet WDT. So I guess this kind of like using a WDT widest distribution tool kind of, or technique. I think it's tool, right? I don't know. But anyway, using that to stir the bed instead of like a spoon or swirling, it does less agitation on the beans, and then but at the same time still saturating the grounds. All right, and so with the Melita, what I've been doing is just after the two first pours, I do a single pour to the rest of the the brew amount, and I do a pretty aggressive pour. So I'm at 300. And this is how I normally do pour overs. I use this Fellow Corvo. I use this, right? So it's the Fellow electronic kettle, but it's not the gooseneck. And maybe I can talk about kettles later, but it's just what's been working for me. And let's see. Yeah, this is interesting. It feels like it's pouring quite. I mean, like the drawdown is quite slow compared to when I was using a paper, which I'm surprised. I would think that the this cloth would be much faster. So it could be how I set it in the brewer. It could also be that with the paper filters, they fit more perfectly. Let me do a little swirl here. They fit a little bit better. In the Melita, and so what it does is it leaves a lot of space for bypass around the sides. So even though on the Melita you have that single small hole on the bottom, from my experience, it feels like the drawdown is pretty fast and it never really clogs for me. And so this one might be kind of sitting more flat against the brewer, and it's definitely flowing a lot slower. Haven't got any clogging, but yeah, it's definitely slow. Like I'm hitting like 4.5 minutes. It's actually a little bit, it's not as long as the time indicates, because I kind of, was talking and pausing between the brewing. So it still hasn't clogged, but it's drawing down really slow, but it's steady. Here, let me let you take a look. It just kind of finished going down. So I did that little swirl, so I got a pretty even bed. Let me just tap it. So I like to do that too, just to get the last little bits. So I didn't get any clogging, any stalls on this brew, but it did take quite a while. So like if you look here, yeah, like I would say it was probably about 5 minutes. Maybe take off 30 seconds, since I was kind of pouring, kind of late on some of my pouring. So nonetheless, that's kind of slow. Like usually with the paper filter, I'm getting the drawdown. It's usually taking 3 minutes, no more than 3.5. Yeah. Oh, so this is one of the. So I was trying to think of the cons, right? So I'm up at one right now. With the paper filters, after you're done, you just toss it. With the cloth, obviously you're not going to just toss the cloth away. So the cleanup is a little bit more work. One of the things that's interesting is, like, if I wanted to, I typically don't do this, but like you could even like there's still a little bit of liquid in here, and you can kind of close it up and kind of squeeze it and get the rest of it out. And what that will do is, typically I start getting I'll get more oils that come out at the very end. But then also you have to remember that this is the very end of the brew, and so when you squeeze that out, you're also squeezing out some flavors that you probably don't want in your brew. So I normally don't do that, at least not aggressively. So to kind of empty the grinds, what I usually do is I will kind of squeeze it, but over the trash bin, you can see. So that's quite a bit that's left in your brew, right? And so it doesn't matter that this is like cloth. You get this same kind of thing with your paper filters as well. But if you kind of squeeze the water out, then it actually makes it easier to, because then grounds are pretty dry, so you can toss out most of it, and you only got a little bit there. You can do things like if you flick with your finger, you can get a little bit more of that. But usually, I just try to get what I can out of it, out of the cloth, and then I just kind of fold it up, and then I'll just run it over the sink and probably wash it with some dish soap. And unless I was going to use it again, if I was going to use it again, then I'll just probably rinse and then just kind of leave it at that. But I usually cycle through I'll use one cloth filter per day. So so that's that. So let me put this here, and we can go ahead and taste the brew. And a lot of times people tell you to kind of take a spoon and stir it or swirl it around, because maybe the first part of the brew, it's going to be a different flavor than like what extracted at the end, and so it might not be fully distributed well. So what I've been doing recently is I have this frother, and so I kind of do that there to kind of aerate coffee, right, and mix all the the flavors together. So I don't always do that. I just kind of recently started more for the aeration. And let's test it out. Let's check it out here. Okay. So here it is. Ooh. Yeah. One thing I didn't do is I didn't test to see if that, because originally, like I was saying, I didn't know if the bleached cloth filter, if you get less cloth taste or any at all. I don't taste anything in this. With the with the unbleached, I definitely would taste something the first time I use it, and so usually I have to kind of sacrifice the first brew, knowing that it's just not going to be great, and then usually after that, the subsequent uses, it's good to go. But this is really good. So like I'm getting I think it mentioned here orange. What was it? Let's see. No, not orange. Mango, actually. But I'm getting a really strong citrus. So I'm not getting... so this thing, it says floral aromatics hit first. I have a terrible sense of smell. I can almost never smell anything. So I have no doubt that this whole area smells really strongly of coffee. It probably smells really good, but I can't smell anything. And it says big flavors of black tea and mango and a raspberry acidity. So, and they said it's really sweet. So, yeah, I'm starting to get the black tea now as it's cooling, I think. I think I can see mango. I think the I'm getting a lot of kind of citrus. My first thought was like orange, or orange peel, and then I think that mixed with the kind of the black tea, flavor profiles coming out, kind of almost makes it. I can almost feel like, yeah, this is almost like mango a little bit. They're kind of combining to kind of hint at something like that. In terms of acidity, yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it, other than the kind of that strong citrus taste I'm getting. This is good. This is probably the best I've brewed with this coffee, and with this grinder. I'm curious what it would be like with the GX Pro. The GX Pro, I'm actually getting some really good brews on pour over. So I don't know. I might try that the next time. Let me try a little bit more. I think we'll call it a day. Now I'm definitely getting mango. Oof. This is really good. Yeah, I hope you guys try out cloth filters. It does seem like it's a lot of work, but I think once I think my method, I don't know if it looked like it or not, but to me, I feel like that mitigates a lot of the challenges of doing, using cloth filters. So I hope you guys give that a try. I tell you, if you haven't tried cloth filters, you definitely should. You'll be amazed at how different the coffee tastes. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Yeah, I'll probably be recording some more videos really soon. Maybe even one right after this, but I'll try to space them out a little bit. Yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and yeah, see you on the next one.